Gonna jump.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man. So I had a gingerbread cookie, like a man, like a gingerbread, a figure, a ginger. It's a gingerbread person. I don't know. What are they called now? Are they gingerbread men? Is it a gingerbread? It's not the house.
I don't believe the term gingerbread man has been canceled yet. So,
but it's not the house. We know what a gingerbread house was. A gingerbread man. But think about it. If you were to buy for your daughters a kit, you'd buy them a gingerbread house kit. But what if it's the figures? What do you call them then? Because they're not gingerbread cookies because it's in the shape of men. So what do you call it? What is it? What do you call it, John? Is what I'm asking you. Whatever it was,
I would call it a gingerbread cookie.
But a cookie denotes usually a circular ginger. That's a ginger snap.
I'm sorry. I don't care about the terminology. If you get the term wrong, I don't care.
I'm just really worried. Anyways, I had one. And it was really hard, and I might have cracked a tooth.
So immediately after this, you're going to the dentist.
No, because those emergency dentist places, they cost a fortune. So forget it. I'm just going to live with it.
You live with busted ass teeth. All right. What's up, folks? This is the Sidekick Show. Welcome.
Hey,
it is Monday, 8 p.m. Thank you for joining us. Should we try rolling the intro or should we skip it?
Let's do it. And
okay,
hopefully we don't do a double.
I recut another one. So let's go. Yeah. Otherwise, we're going to pull our Deadpool cable. Oh, man. Country. If someone wants to cut a country version for us, definitely hook us up. All right. Let's go. Let's give it a shot. Here we are.
Wow.
Did it work?
It worked.
It worked. Okay.
It worked perfectly.
I must have edited one and uploaded it, and maybe that was causing the problem. But it's weird. No country. All right. Fine. What up, Scott? Let's get that right off the bat. So this is the Sidekick Show. It is November. No, not November.
We're into December.
Crap. It's December 7th, 2020.
Yeah.
We are exactly
2.5 weeks away till Christmas.
Yeah. 2.5 weeks away till Christmas, 6 days away from the Mario Lopez KFC Lifetime 15-minute movie about Colonel Sanders looking hot and sexy. So I will plug that just because I think that's friggin' hilarious. That is like Ryan Reynolds like level marketing there. So let's rock and roll. I got a list of the comics here. I'm gonna look off into the distance because I've got it on my other screen here. So we'll see
off into the distance.
Funny. Yeah, I didn't want to whip up my notepad to get made fun of. So
this looks worse. Let me just tell you.
So this week, heads up. All right. Shut up, Rob. All right. Heads up, folks. This week shipping is like out of control. I thought it was out of control last week. This week it's also out of control. So we're looking at 2 to 3 days delay in shipping. So definitely hit us up. We'll post on our social media when we have certain new releases and things ready. But here are the comics as I see fit. Again, I'm just giving you the hits. So American Vampire, 1976, the 9-issue limited series. We're on issue 3, and that's the Scott Snyder, Raphael Albuquerque book. Albuquerque.
No? Yeah, New Mexico, sure.
Yeah, no. but this, the book looks awesome. It always has a really cool vintage looking cover, so I definitely want to read that. We got Amazing Spider-Man 54, the Nick Spencer and Mark Bagley book, the whole last rights. So we have 54 and 54.LR. Marvel don't do this nonsense again because it's really annoying because it's actually a good book and people are passing on it because of this nonsense. Avengers 39, Batman Black and White, it's back. So a brand new number 1, 6-issue limited series prestige format, featuring this first issue is going to feature James Tynion, J.H. Williams, the third, Paul Dini, Andy Kubert, and all kinds of different people. So that's Batman Black and White number 1 coming out again, big format. Captain Marvel 24, crossover number 2, the Image book by Donny Cates. Detective 1032, the Tomasi book. Flash 767, which is part of the whole big Justice League Vikings crossover called Endless Winter. It's part number 2. There's going to be 9 parts total. Homesick Pilots, a new book coming from Image that is described as Power Rangers meets The Shining. Yes, you heard me right. Power Rangers meets The Shining. Juggernaut issue 4 of 5. King in Black, Rob's boy Namor limited series starts. The King in Black started last week, and that features the big bad Venom villain, the god of symbiotes, Null. And it's going to be it's Marvel's big crossover. It's been like a year in the making, so definitely you want to check that out. Maybe not all the limited series, but definitely get the King in Black main series. Mighty Morphin #2 from Boom Studios is coming out. Neil Gaiman's Norse Mythology #3 comes out. Origins 2, another Boom book coming out. Spider-Man issue, just called Spider-Man Plane, is the J.J. Abrams and his
oh my
book his son is writing. The final issue is finally out. Issue 5 of 5 is finally here.
Wow, that was like way pre-pandemic. Like that was last year when they started this.
It's been a hot minute.
Wow.
So Strange Academy #6, new Marvel book Sword #1, which is the aftermath of 10 of Swords, written by Al Ewing. And the artist from the Empire book, sorry, I forgot his name, but it looks pretty good. And Sword is going to be like a big deal. The first prints of the original #1s and stuff are going for
is that a character? Is Sword a character?
No, the team, it's like a space like team, spin-off from the X-Men. Yeah. So they think it's going to be on a new TV show or a new movie or something like that. And then we do have Tales of the Dark Multiverse, the Flashpoint. So this is by Brian Itch, art and story. And it's what if Barry Allen had not put back right the things that happened in Flashpoint. So if you remember Flashpoint, that was when Barry Allen went back. I believe Rob can probably correct me if I'm wrong. He goes back to save his mom and screws up the entire time stream. So Thomas Wayne is Batman, Aquaman and Wonder Woman are at war. I forgot what happened to Superman, but
Superman was captured and he was held hostage. I think he was captured by was it the Russians or whatever? But he was held hostage and he was all like withered and he had no sunlight access.
I forget what the terminology is called when you're just like atrophied or whatever your muscles are.
Atrophy.
But yeah, it was like this horrible kind of alternate world future, and it's kind of a nice what if book.
But let me just dovetail for a quick second, because in theory, he didn't put things back right, because that's how we got the New 52.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe if they had just left it, if they had not tried to do anything and just left that as is.
Okay.
So, but the Tales on the DC Dark Multiverse line is pretty cool from DC lately.
Yeah,
so they've done a lot of fun stuff. And then we do have Venom 31, which is part of the King in Black stuff. So that's Donny Cates' book, one of Marvel's best books. We do have the Warhammer 40k Marnius Calgar issue 3 for you Warhammer fans. In reprints, we do have the TMNT Last Ronin second printing, because the first print went crazy and sold out in like seconds. So the second printing, it was supposed to be out for us last week. I don't know what the delay was. We're getting it this week. It's a cool book where there's only one turtle left, and he's trying to carry on the legacy. And I won't spoil which turtle it is, but you definitely should read that and find out. It's very kind of Frank Miller, Dark Knight-ish kind of feel. And then for toys, we've got the new Flashpoint Batman coming in from McFarlane.
Yeah, that looks really cool. I saw your picture of that you posted today. It looked amazing.
Yeah. People are going, it looked really hot. He's got the red straps and holsters and stuff like that. It's a really good. McFarlane is definitely, the level of his figures keeps coming up. We'll be getting the new Dune figures. So if you're looking forward to the new Dune movie, and then you might have seen me post the Red Hood and Nightwing 2-pack. We're getting a single Red Hood pack. So if you just wanted to get Red Hood, he'll be coming in. And then we are getting the Flash and Red Menace, one of the Dark Metal characters, the Speedster. And then we're getting a restock of the Bat, which is kind of like a armored Batman that looks kind of like Azrael. It's like black and gold colored. And then I will shout out, we're getting one reorder in of the Blade of the Immortal Deluxe Edition hardcover. I've mentioned it before, but it's one of these classic animes that we kind of started carrying when the store first opened. And the idea is that there's a cursed samurai named Manji who is kept alive by these kind of mystical bloodworms, so he cannot die from any wound. And to lift the curse of this kind of never being able to die, he has to kill 1,000 evil men. So it's a cool kind of like samurai questing kind of thing, and he meets like all these kind of like really shady characters and stuff. So it's a really fun book, deluxe hardcovers, because I know people really love those collected editions. But that's pretty much it. I'm sure there's more stuff coming out, but that's what I know of at this moment.
Can I just say that if people are not following you on your social media, they should. You posted a really funny picture the other day of the Flash in a foot race against the
Red
Red Menace. And I mean, the Red Menace, I think it was just a statue, right? Was it one of the statues?
No, those are action figures. So that's
is it really? Okay.
So it's both of those figures coming.
Okay, that was a 2-pack because you had the Flash looking like he was so dejected, and you drew like finish line and the Red Menace and I was laughing so hard when I saw that.
A couple of guys at the store helped me out, and they're kind of like trying to put themselves in positions. Like, what does a runner look like? And I'm like, why don't you just look up a picture of Usain Bolt or whatever? Because you pretending to run fast isn't actually what a person looks like running fast. No. You know what I mean? Like whenever you're waiting in your car and someone's crossing the street and they kind of do that little jog when they're not actually walking fast, but they look like they're walking fast. That's what you look like. So it doesn't work. But that was a lot of fun. We were actually looking for like a little ribbon to put in front, but we couldn't find one. So I just wrote finish line on the. If
only it was like around a specific holiday in which one would find ribbons in almost every store.
Oh man. Yeah. Oh well. So that's the new releases. Thanks, folks.
Good,
there's the Sidekick show live. Rob's gonna hit us with the news, and then definitely hit us in the comments. We'll get to the comments after, or maybe during the news, if you guys want to get some
because you know what, John, we're just gonna kind of fly through some of these news items because we had some major news, and I want to have a bit of a discussion about that. But let's just start off really quickly. I bring this up almost every couple of weeks. Maybe people are wondering, well, why are you doing that? I'm bringing up Fortnite again this week. This past Tuesday was the finale of the Marvel Nexus War with Fortnite. Marvel has released a tweet or a press release saying that was a lot of fun. We'll see you again soon. We talked about this a number of weeks ago. We knew Marvel are going to be coming back. This new season of Fortnite, though, that has kicked off. First off, right off the bat, if you're grabbing that battle pass, you are getting the Mandalorian. Like, one of the challenges is to go and land on the Razor Crest. Like the whole idea and the premise so far this season is about bounty hunting. So you are the Mandalorian. That's pretty cool. They've also just released a teaser for Kratos from God of War, and I'm a huge God of War fan. And so that is coming out as well. That's gonna be pretty exciting. And then you and I were just discussing this offline. There's a huge rumor that Master Chief from Halo will be making an appearance in Fortnite. So the reason why I'm bringing up Fortnite is
crazy. He's from another first-person shooter, right?
Right, just like God of War, just like Kratos is coming from Sony over to, and now you've got from Microsoft, as a FPS, like you said, is coming over. So the reality is that Fortnite is definitely changing the way in which a lot of people are being exposed to other IP. So cool. Awesome for them. Speaking of IP, Invincible, you know how much I'm a big fan of Robert Kirkman's Invincible series, and we know that we've got the animated version coming in 2021. They just dropped a bit more cast news this past weekend. Mahershala Ali, Clancy Brown, Nicole Byer will be in it. Jonathan Groff, if anybody was a fan of Manhunter on Netflix, man, that was awesome. He's going to be in it. John Hamm is going to be in it, and Ezra Miller is
your favorite.
somehow has landed another job, and he'll be in it as well. So no idea as to when Invincible will be coming out on Amazon Prime. It's an animated series, but it is in 2021. I think we had speculated, John, maybe May to July type area. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I have no clue. I have no clue. It should be coming out this Christmas, to be honest. I think nothing's coming out right now.
Right.
When Mandalorian wraps, they should drop Invincible.
Yeah.
And then they'll have like a freaking Kingmaker or whatever you call that. I don't know.
There you go. Speaking about comics and television shows, news broke last week as well that DC Comics has teamed up. There a new television show will be on the CW. They're teaming up with Ava DuVernay, who is currently working on New Gods, and I believe with Tom King, and for a major motion picture. Although there hasn't been a lot of news in the past 18 months about that. When there's no news, it kind of makes me wonder what's happening. She was also working on DMZ, I believe, for HBO Max, but now she has teamed up with Jill Blankenship to do Naomi, the Brian Michael Bendis. And I don't remember who the co-creator was, and I apologize, but the teen superhero story of Naomi, was it? Okay.
I know he did the art. I don't know if he was a creator credit on it.
Yeah, so listen, for people who don't know Naomi very well, and admittedly I don't, I know she had a crossover in, I think it was Action Comics last year, because obviously Bendis is writing that as well, but she's a teenage girl. The show is about a teen girl's journey from a small northwestern town to the heights of the multiverse. When a supernatural event shakes her hometown to the core, Naomi sets out to uncover its origins, and what she discovers will challenge everything we believe about our heroes. So David Walker is written by Bendis and Walker. That was the book, debuted in 2019. So if you think about this
book was a big deal.
Yeah, and so this book
and it told it, like, I guess we don't want to reveal exactly what the reveal is. Like, there's something in our history that gets revealed. Yeah.
But that's a pretty big, I mean, think about it. This show debuted a year ago. And I'm sorry, the book debuted a year ago. And there you go.
This character essentially is brand new. This character is brand new.
So I'm sure all of those people who've got Naomi #1 or are now searching the back bins trying to find their copy of #1 to get
it was already a big spec book at the time it came out. Like, when it came out, people were already thinking, like, but people are buying up appearances of every new character nowadays.
Sure.
But I remember particularly this is one of the earlier books that all of a sudden it got hot just because she's a new character.
Yeah. One of the bigger stories that came out last week, John, was a huge news out of Sony. Now, I think you're a fan of this franchise, Metal Gear Solid. Are you a fan?
I would like to be.
All right. Well, they announced that Oscar Isaac is set to star as Solid Snake in Sony's Metal Gear Solid movie, which Jordan Voight Roberts is now on board to direct, which is actually kind of interesting. He directed Kong, and then he kind of had some weird stuff happen while directing Kong, and then kind of just disappeared for a little bit. But he's been working for the past, I think, 4 to 5 years on this movie. He's a huge MGS fan, so he landed the guy that everybody was kind of hoping was Oscar Isaacs. I know that we just talked about Oscar a few weeks ago because he was cast in Moon Knight, the TV series on D+. So yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, MGS, movie is coming. No. I'm not even going to guess as to when. It could be 2048. Who knows?
I'm concerned because, like, have you actually played the games at all, Rob? Like,
so when they came out at that time, I was an Xbox guy. I had the original. If I say Xbox One, people are going to get confused. I had the original big black Xbox, which was actually a very powerful machine. And they somehow Microsoft had, I think it was MGS4, but they called it something different, and they had it ported over. And so I played it. And it took me a little bit of time to get into it, especially because the camera angles were always constantly shifting. And there's a lot of hiding in boxes, which I would then use that skill almost 15 to 18 years later playing Fortnite. But yeah, it is a bit of a convoluted story. It is a bit... the whole premise, the whole idea of MGS is very convoluted. So there's a lot of people... I think it's a camp of people who either love it or they hate it.
It's really wild. Like, I remember the original PlayStation 1 version was like extremely hot when it came out, and then just story wise, I feel like it's kind of like it does have a story that's kind of like it reaches really far to be like really kind of in depth and deep. But sometimes I just watch it and I'm like, I don't know what the F is going on. So I assume they'll clean that up for a movie. And Oscar Isaacs, I think we were talking about it. He was in that movie with Ben Affleck, Triple Frontier. As a military guy, yeah, which that movie I wasn't a huge fan of it overall, but the beginning part where they are this military crew, and it's basically like a heist movie. They kind of set up a heist and something goes wrong and stuff like that. But they're military guys and they're coming in and storming buildings and stuff. He looked really good as a military guy, so I don't know if you're just picturing Poe Dameron or whatever other parts he's had. He does look good in military gear. So and Solid Snake is like a hardcore military dude, right?
Well, yeah, and so I think I would hate for people's opinion or idea of Oscar Isaacs to only be limited to the Star Wars trilogy, the new one, or Apocalypse, because he's actually a phenomenal actor, and he's very charismatic and cool to watch. So I would definitely, if people want to talk about Oscar Isaacs, there's a multitude of movies that you should definitely check out that he's awesome in, including Ex Machina. So check that out. I'm going to jump back into the news quickly, John, because that was pretty much the biggest casting pop culture thing, the next thing I want to talk about, and maybe we can spend a little bit of time, is this huge, it's not even news at this point. It was like a seismic shift in entertainment that happened last week. Warner Brothers has decided to debut their entire 2021 film slate on same day in theaters and on HBO Max, just like they're doing with Wonder Woman 84 on December 25th. And I just, so if people are like, wait, like, what type of movies are we talking about? We're talking about Dune. We're talking Matrix 4. We're talking Suicide Squad. We're talking Godzilla versus King Kong. There's a Sopranos sequel movie that's coming out. There's that new Lin-Manuel Miranda one. I believe the Mortal Kombat movie is on there as well. Yep. Like, excuse me, there's like a whole bunch. Like there's a shit ton of movies that are coming out. The idea being that it's going to hit HBO Max for 30 days. And then we'll leave that streaming service and then immediately kind of drop onto iTunes, or maybe wait for a couple more weeks before it hits the iTunes and the, Game Pass, wherever it is you find your movies digitally online. But this is huge news in that this is, there's a lot of people who are wondering, is this the death knell of movie theaters? What does this mean? And for you and I in Canada, what this means is that we're getting screwed right now. And I'm going to do my best to be very reserved. In Canada, Bell TV owns Crave, and they have an agreement with HBO to say, hey, we're gonna carry your HBO content. And when HBO Max was announced, people in Canada got really excited, and Bell stepped in and said, well, no, we're gonna sign a deal with Warner/HBO. We're gonna carry all of your HBO Max television series. But the problem is they're not always carrying everything. Case in point, in October, The West Wing reunion special aired October 15th. We didn't get it up here until the beginning of November because of licensing deals or whatever the case may be. Then it got into like the movies, and things started happening saying, well, how come we're not getting these HBO Max movies? It can be somewhat convoluted and confusing because if it's an HBO proper movie, we're getting it. But if it's HBO Max movie, we might not. Now, let's go now to where we are in 2.5 weeks, where Wonder Woman 84 is dropping in theaters across Canada, in regions in which you can actually go to theaters, and on HBO Max in the US. We are not getting it on Crave and we talked about this before, and I was really hopeful we would. Apparently, we're not getting it. The Crave/Bell PR came out with a response saying, hey, after their standard theatrical release, it will be on Crave. This is my problem. What does the term standard theatrical release need anymore? What does that mean? Because there are going to be people in the northern parts of Ontario, like in Sudbury, Timmins, North Bay, who they're not in lockdown like you and I are. They'll be able to watch the movie on December 25th, 26th, or whatever it is at a theater if they want to. They have the option. People in other parts of the country who will be able to see it. But in the major markets, in the Vancouvers, I think Vancouver and certain parts of Vancouver are locked down, but in Toronto, the GTA outside of Toronto, we are all locked down. We are not going to be able to get an access to Wonder Woman. It is potential that our theaters may not open until February or March. So what do you do then? So what does that term standard theatrical release mean? Apply this logic now to what we're going to be seeing in 2021 with Warner Brothers. That means there's going to be certain amounts of the population in Canada that will not have access to these movies whatsoever for potentially months legally. And this is where I think you're going to start to see people who are going to get pissed off and say, screw you. I'm just going to get one of those boxes again, the NVIDIA N Shield or whatever it is, and I'm going to start finding my streams, and because it's going to be digitally, it's going to be out there in the US. Why are we not getting it up here? So this is where it starts to get a little bit frustrating and annoying when it comes to the actual service and the distribution of these movies. We are not going to be getting them at all. And if you're in an area that's locked down, you won't have access to them until who knows when. So that's one thing. The other thing, John, is that what does this do for the movies? What does this do for theater owners? We had Josh Stafford, thank you, on here, who was the owner of the Mayfair Theater, an independent run theater out in Ottawa since the 1939, I think he said. How does this affect him? Now, admittedly, he doesn't get first run movies like this necessarily right off the bat. But does this shift this landscape? Do we have multiplexes anymore where we have 24 theaters in one building? I don't know. I don't know what this means. I don't know.
It's tough, yeah, because especially if we don't know if there's something in the works and maybe they just can't say it, maybe they should let people know that. But the fact, like even we'll take Mandalorian as an example. If you don't watch Mandalorian within the first 48 hours, even 24 hours, sometimes even some people stay up till 4 a.m. and watch it,
Right.
you're going to get spoilers on the internet. And some people can say, hey, yeah, well, then stay off social media. I'm like, well, a lot of things run via social media now, so some people got to be on there. You got to, or you're on there. It's not fair that you can just stumble across a major spoiler. So if like theatrical release, if that term means maybe maybe a month, I don't know what the original terminology was. Maybe it was 3 months in a theater, and then it would go to home video, and then a year later you could buy it or something like that. Everything is always changed, shifting. Right?
Yeah.
So if they release something else, like maybe it's just too soon and they can't say, but that's pretty bad. It's going to make it very easy for someone who wants to support, like a customer like you or whoever, and it's not easy for you to support. Then there are other means to see these things, and to be honest, it's not that hard to use these other means.
Yeah.
So like, what's that going to mean? And in terms of the long term, if we're just talking about in general, movies coming to streaming and skipping the theater, I feel like something has to happen because of the state. You can't just keep pushing everything back, and then we have like 20 movies in the can that are all going to drop at once, and basically all of Hollywood's going to stop. So they have to, the theaters have to make money, but the Hollywood and producers and all those guys got to make money on top of that, right? To keep making these movies. So if this is a solution for them to be able to continue making movies, then I think it's a step that they have to take. I think AMC released a statement. They were all pissed off about it, but I'm like, can you blame them? Who knows? Like maybe they won't even be around to play these movies when the coast is clear. So I don't blame the next level up for exploring their options.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's right, you know?
Yeah. No, but we talked about this when we talked originally about Wonder Woman a number of weeks ago before they announced it coming out on December 25th. We were speculating whether or not it was going to shift. And I had made the comment that there is only 52 weekends next year. And as you said, we're in a bottleneck situation. So if you start cramming all these,
it's not like everyone's going to cry. It's not like everyone's going to rush out as soon as the all clear is given, right? It's going to be a gradual, well, there's 52 weekends and that starts January 1st. And we're nothing between where we are right now as we're recording this on December the 7th and January 1st are going to drastically change that. People will start going into the movie theater, right? So you got to take that. Let's talk May or June. You got to take 18 weeks right off the bat, gone. Right. So now your year is now even shorter. So it's very interesting to see what's going to happen with the movie industry. If this is now it's a paradigm shift potentially. And in the next couple of days, Disney are having an investors call. And there's a lot of speculation that they are going to be putting a lot of their movies now on Disney Plus, because again, you have all of this material that has to get out and you can't just be sitting on it and delaying things. So we'll see what happens on Thursday as it pertains to this Warner Brothers and HBO Max and everything else. It's, as a consumer, listen, we can get into the whole pirating issue, this and that. I think it's a very gray area in Canada because you're not downloading, you're simply streaming. Whatever. I'm not a lawyer, but that's fine. I like to spend money on and purchase these things. No,
right?
you want to support it. You want the quality. You want it on demand. You want to be able to use your nice interface and not use something ghetto. But if they're going to make it this hard or take away your access,
how would you feel if you had a friend? You have a friend in Timmins or where you grew up in the western part of the province, right? So you had friends in say Waterloo or London area. Right? Who were like, oh yeah, man, on the 27th of December, me and my friends or my wife and I went and we checked out Wonder Woman. It was amazing. And you're like, cool. We don't have it here and you're not going to be able to see it until February or March. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
This is stupid. Like, what are you talking about? Right? So, at any rate, that's that. You know, I could go on for a very long time about it because I find it to be very frustrating and it pisses me off. Because it's not, and I try to think, we don't deserve anything. We haven't done anything to deserve a reward of watching these movies. We haven't done anything, right? So I don't think we deserve to see them. But I think now in this day and age, you're singling out certain areas and you're essentially punishing them because they have no ability to be able to see it. And I think that's shit. So Crave/Bell, I don't care what you have to do, get on this, make it available to your subscribers, to potentially new subscribers. You know, those in the US, Warner, DC, whomever, if you're watching this now or later on, figure a way to do it to give something to your fans, people who want to watch this, because having my cousin or whatever, my brother-in-law who is out in Petawawa, having an opportunity to watch it out there, and I can't for potentially 6 months. It's not cool.
Maybe you take a couple hours drive to see a movie nowadays, right? Like, but
it's not worth it.
Who knows the ramifications of that? Yeah, especially if you drove and you saw like some type of trash movie, which we'll be talking about later. Thanks for joining us, folks. If you're here late to the party, we're talking about the big announcement that sorry, which company was it? Warner
Brothers.
Warner Brothers is going to be potentially releasing their whole lineup. So we'll get into the comments quickly now because there are a couple of comments that I wanted to kind of see. Scott says he's not too worried about spoilers, to be honest. And in the reality, yeah, unless it's like some type of thriller, murder mystery type of movie, if it's a quality product, then spoilers potentially cannot hurt that bad, and Michelle talks about she watches Mandalorian the minute it's added to Disney Plus, so she doesn't have to worry about spoilers. And if she had to wait months, she'd probably forget about it. And this is something that resonates with me because you'll notice that sometimes I have not seen a lot of these movies that we talk about on the podcast and stuff, and that is because it probably came out in the theaters and I missed it on release, and I just forgot about it and never went back to it, and that I think that might happen with some of these movies if there's not access to it, or we get it 3 months after the hype is gone, then maybe you won't click on it, right?
Well, one point that I didn't touch on is because it actually came out today, is that Legendary Pictures, the producing company, apparently they're looking at legal options against Warner Brothers for doing this because they could be losing a bunch of money because it was a joint venture.
Warner Brothers is also like I said, like they have to make money too. The stars and all the people involved in those monies need to make money. Like there's a whole chain that has to go up, and I'm sorry, movie theaters might not be considered the essential link in that chain anymore. Fraser said, "Damn, he's late to the show." Yes, shame on you, Fraser. What the hell?
Come on, man. It's only 8 o'clock every Monday.
Yeah, Andre brings up a good point. He says our exact point. Even when the theaters reopen, it's going to take a while for it to get back to normal, if it ever does.
But that's the whole point, though.
You have to start taking steps. Sorry, our screens are reversed. To kind of like make things happen, like these promotions, like the Wonder Woman comic covers that they've been delaying forever. The whole Wonder Woman Doritos promotion is over now, and the movie hasn't even come out. Like all these things, all the merchandise that's sitting in shelves. We've had the McFarlane Wonder Woman action figures for, I want to say, a year. Like it's kind of crazy. And let's see, Scott says unique. He says they'll have to create a unique experience to get him out of the house, and to me that was the unique experience, going to see it in the theaters. Like right now, leaving to the theater, I go to the theater, I shut off my phone and get some popcorn and sit down with a bunch of buddies and watch the movie. That's an experience for me. That is gone. Yeah, so that's why I'm not even watching a lot of these movies now, because I have my phone, I have my kids, I have people at home, I have dishes to help with, and laundry, and there's so many things that get in the way. So but
the problem is though that you're talking about an opportunity, though. You're saying, I could watch it on my phone or my tablet. You have to make it an experience for me. But if you don't have that content when other people around you do have that content, that becomes a problem, right? Now, all of a sudden, you're making us the equivalent of North Korea, where we have no access to entertainment.
Good buddy John. What's up, Jonathan? Jonathan joined us as well. He says, driving to the Oakville Drive-In Theater might be an option. You know, unless the movie's a stinker, then that's gonna suck.
Well, so I'm in the eastern part of the GTA. I'm in the Durham region, so we're in lockdown. So let's just say, for conversation purposes, I'm still in lockdown as of Christmas Day, which is going to happen. For me, the closest theater that's not in lockdown is Belleville. So I'm looking at an hour and a half drive, right? One Woman is 2 hours and 30 minutes. So I am now investing a 3 hour there and back with no traffic drive for a 2.5 hour movie. Now, I'm not one to say I'm an economics professor, but I would think that the law of economics doesn't seem to swing in my favor if I'm driving 3 hours for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's pretty rough to drive that far for an experience that also is going to take you time. And maybe if you could download the movie straight into your head and have the memories.
Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah, Johnny Mnemonic.
Whoa.
Yeah. So Andre and John both make points about it's clearly some type of licensing issue. I guess with Canada and US that they should just work it out. You know what I mean? This is making money for people. So whoever's holding the rights or whatever network is holding this back, they should really get to work on sorting it out. Scott wants to know what we're drinking tonight. I hope Rob is drinking straight vodka.
It would explain a lot.
I've got Johnny Walker in my Coke here. So I decided to opt away from the water tonight. So yeah, I don't know if we want to. Do we want to close up?
No,
on
I think
you know what. Otherwise, we could go all night. Yeah. So Scott says yes.
All night, so.
See, this is true. Big TVs, good sound. My own popcorn. Why leave? Yeah. Why not?
Also,
so yeah, maybe I'll have to do that.
Maybe
pants. I'll prefer to wear pants while watching the movies. I don't know what movies you watch.
No, but you can wear shorts. You wear your pajamas. But what I'm saying is
you could do that at the movie theater. You could do that at the movie theater. But Scott makes a great point. Maybe that's what I have to do now. Now I have to make a home theater room because I don't really have a nice TV or anything like that. Maybe I got to get a nice TV. Maybe I got to get sound. Maybe I got to tell the family that I'm going to watch a TV movie or whatever and leave me alone for 2 hours, right?
Right, but there's a variable here that we have to point out is that Scott lives in the United States, so he has access to these movies on HBO Max. If he
he might not want to go out though.
No, I know that, but
it's crazier in the States. It's crazy.
No, but what I'm saying is he'll be able to stay home and have his popcorn he'll be able to watch it. Where you and we're going to be like, we can't even drive down to where Scott is. We'll just be watching outside of his window. Think, turn it up like that, right? Anyways, that's that, man.
Andre's geeking out on TVs here, 90-inch 8K TV. Sure, yeah, go nuts.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. I mean, you know what? This is going to be a topic of conversation. It's going to continue. I suspect that if you tune into the main Heroes World podcast next Wednesday, which would be the 16th, I think it drops, you will probably have a lot more in-depth conversation about this and about what's happening with Disney on Thursday. So that's just, I suspect that this is going to be something that we're going to be talking about because it does get rid of all the stuff that I'm getting pissed off about with Canada and this and that. What does this mean for movies in general going forward? So there's a lot there to unpack.
Yeah. My point is, sure, AMC is pissed, but once things are given the okay, it's not like things are just turning back on like a faucet. We're not going back to life as normal,
right?
Like that. You know what I mean? Like Andre and a couple of the others made the point that it's going to take a while before we get back to that point. So they got to adapt.
Yeah,
they got to I-Ching whatever adapt.
Now it would be it'd be very interesting now, John, if you had the opportunity to watch Spawn in 1997 and you had an opportunity to stream it, would you have seen it in the theater or would you have streamed it?
I would do neither.
The reason I'm asking, John, and just for the record, I actually went to the theater to see it. I saw it twice. The first time, I was so stoned, I have no recollection of the movie, still to this day. The reason I ask, and that's why people are wondering, I've got some Spawn stuff behind me, the movie and the comic, is that on this week's Heroes World podcast, we review Spawn. John, myself, Andre, and Stuart, we talk about the 1997 Asterpiece, I don't know. We talk about that movie because we haven't reviewed an image movie before, so we thought, hey, let's review Spawn. So you should be tuning in.
We've done Old Guard, but we're kind of doing a retro theme. So we've done Superman, the DC. Right. We've done Howard Duck, the Marvel. We did. Now we've done Spawn, and we did do The Crow, which was an indie line. So we're kind of hitting the first of, and I hope we kind of get to some more better stuff. Like The Crow, absolute pleasure to watch. Superman was fun to reminisce, but I hope we can get to some kind of more I don't know what you would call it, better movies.
Better movies. Well, I can tell you. But tune in on Wednesday. Well, usually it's about 6:30, 7 o'clock is when the actual episode drops on iTunes, Spotify, this and that. YouTube, I think it'll be up about 10 o'clock or so, 9 or 10 on Wednesday. But definitely tune in to listen, to see what we think about Spawn. But John, tonight we are continuing our worst comic book movie bracket. And tonight's showdown was between Catwoman, starring Halle Berry, and Fantastic Four, the 2015 Josh Trank reboot, even though for whatever reason you have a difficult time understanding that the 4 is meant to be an A in Fantastic Four.
No, they put it in there. It's a poor choice of yeah. So if you're new, if you're tuning in first time, or if you're just tuning in now, we're talking our worst comic movie throwdown bracket. And we've already had round 1 a couple episodes ago. Those are fast kind of like advancements. Last week we're now, as of last week, we're on round 2. So last week we talked about Daredevil and X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, you were really mad about Dark Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix, it's because it's just insulting. It's insulting to us who paid to watch it or buy it or own it on DVD. But yeah, so X-Men Dark Phoenix did end up advancing because it is a terrible crap fest that just insults the viewer almost every step of the way. And it is almost, it's on the verge of being in the double digits of X-Men movies. So we should have expected something a little bit nicer. So today we've chose to talk about Catwoman from 2004 and Fant4stic, Fant4stic.
But why do you keep saying Fant4stic?
Mr. Fant4stic. I missed Rob's Shaggy reference last week. So
I know. I was like, I don't understand.
I was like, what's he talking about? I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, Catwoman and Fantastic Four. So I don't know. I still think New Mutants doesn't have a chance against Superman Quest for Peace, so I feel like we should knock some of these out of the park.
Well, no. Hang on a second. Let's talk about what happened. So, listen, I had to rent Catwoman. I spent $4.99 this week. So you have to understand, from my perspective. So this past week, over the course of 4 days, I watched Fantastic Four, Catwoman, and then Spawn. So I haven't really had an enjoyable week. So
Michelle puts it right on the head here. There's no winner in this one, only losers, mainly us, the audience.
You're right.
So that's why I kind of want to save a lot of you guys. It's been fantastic fun, and I hope you guys are getting use out of your previously have seen these terrible movies. So hopefully you're not watching them again. Shout outs to Jonathan Yo, who told me he just rewatched both of them to join in on us here.
Yeah, you should.
I feel bad. I feel like we should be the ones doing the work.
We are. I am. You're not. So the people don't understand is I get these messages from John and he's like, I'm out. Like, I can't do this anymore. It's as if I've asked him to clean the dirtiest set of toilets, this side of Michigan. He's like, I can't deal with it. I don't want to deal with this anymore. And I'm like, you have to persevere, bro. Like, keep going. Listen, you want my pick right now? I'm going to tell you right now that okay. they're
Hold
both
on a second.
great.
Scott says Shaggy for the win. Yes, indeed, Shaggy will win. Mr. Boombastic.
They're not great movies.
Jonathan Yo said he had to watch The Crow to save himself, which is a fantastic movie. And then Scott wants to know if you rented a Catwoman. Are you talking movies or some other weird thing going on here?
Both, Scott. That's the only thing that got me off of watching.
So
these
I don't
movies.
know. Do you want to cover like some of these movies a little bit? I pulled a little bit of Catwoman information. So 2004, budget of 100 million, box office of 82 million. So a flop. And a couple tidbits while Rob kind of looks up some stuff. Halle Berry looked really good in the movie. She did have a stunt double that was a 29-year-old Hawaiian male actor who was an expert in martial arts. So calm down if you're really in for Halle Berry. And there was John. I spoke to Jonathan Yo earlier this week, so shout outs for him for giving me this information. But he said there's a very striking similarity between the plot of this movie and The Crow. the whole resurrection aspect and the cat and stuff like that. And I found out there actually was an original preview for this movie that had Halle Berry reading a narration, which was essentially the opening of The Crow, but every instance of The Crow was replaced with the word cat. I tried to find it. I couldn't find it, but there's been a lot of talk about it, and it just sounds hilarious. I wish I could find that. So if anyone finds that, definitely hit me up with that link. And then I saw another tidbit was basically after reading the screenplay, the directors went up to the producers and presented them with an alternate version of the movie. And they refused to use their alternate version because it was too artistic. So they were going for something specific. So I don't know if you got any. Yeah, I don't know if you got any Fantastic Four tidbits you want to drop before we get more into either side.
Well, no, you know what? The only real tidbit is that, Josh Trank was famously removed from this movie. I know that there has been in recent weeks some regurgitation from Kate Mara about what her experience was in filming and maybe her working environment with Josh Trank. But my understanding is that there was a definite issue between Trank and the studio and the producers on the direction of this movie. And it is very evident. The first 30 minutes of this movie, I'm going to say it, are not that bad. The first 25 to 30 minutes,
I think you're being generous. I think you're being generous. I think it was the first 10, 15 minutes.
No, you can tell the direction in which they were going, and then it goes off the rails. So I don't have any more tidbits for Fantastic Four. It came and went like a flame out like Johnny Storm. It was horrible.
Okay, so it's a newer movie, 2015. It cost about 150 million to make, and it made at the box office maybe 170 million and change. So I guess overall it came out maybe ahead. Who knows? And these are all numbers from the internet, so we never know if those are like accurate or not. But yeah.
Okay, so let me just say John. Let me just say that I actually think Fantastic Four as the beginning part. I'm not talking about the stuff with the kids because that was kind of dumb. I'm talking about. Like, first of all, oh my God, Miles Teller is not Reed Richards. Like, none of these actors really embodied the characters in which we knew. But if the actual story in of itself, they was going like a sci-fi horror, I could get behind that. As it is an interesting take on the Fantastic Four. That's an interesting take, one that we haven't seen really, and so I would get behind the sci-fi horror aspect of it. And that's, I think, what Josh Trank was going. Don't forget, this guy made Chronicle, and Chronicle is a really good superhero movie that has no other IP. It's just his own. He and the writer kind of envisioned this whole thing, right? I mean, Dean DeHaan taking that spider with the legs, and he does this, and the legs float off. I mean, that was it's a
keep talking about crazy, this, but I've never seen this movie.
You should see Chronicle. It's a very, very good movie. For a superhero movie, an indie superhero movie. But I digress. You can tell though where it went off the rails. We don't need Doctor Doom. Why is Doctor Doom? It's not even Doctor Doom. Stu is very passionate about his Doctor Doom portrayals, and this is like he hates this with the intensity of 1,000 suns.
It's definitely one of the Dr. worst translations of a character. Other than
horrible.
See, I can't even. I want to say it's almost as bad as the version of Catwoman we got in this movie. So let's kind of move over to Catwoman for a second.
Yeah.
But I feel like Catwoman, they paid for the name, but they didn't really want anything else to do with it. So there's so many things. There's so many things wrong with the movie, but we could bring them all up. The basketball scene. Some of the fights, the catnip, the whole
oh my God, yeah, I messaged
eating
you
the
on
sushi, hissing at the dogs. Like there's things that are in there, but you just like, I don't know if it compares to the kind of the insult that Fantastic Four. So Fantastic Four, I feel, is along the lines of Dark Phoenix, where that's a lot of money. They had a big budget. Like, this is like what, triple the I forgot what I said for Catwoman. Oh, well, double Catwoman's money and resources, and it was just it came out like completely awful, right down to a final ending scene where they awkwardly named the group. Like, why is that scene in there? Thing didn't wear pants. which is really odd. Mr. Fantastic's
Mr. Fantastic
end fight with Doom.
Right.
He basically hits him with a bunch of stretchy punches. Doom catches one of them, and then he uses his other hand to also stretchy punch.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be the smartest man on the planet, and his plan is to stretchy punch this guy. Right. Oh, it didn't work. Let me stretchy punch him with my other arm. That didn't work.
Right.
So yeah, I'll jump into the comments for a quick second here. Scott just dropped one that's like that I think is valid. Catwoman, Fantastic Four is insulting to the audience. That basically trying to tell us that this is a movie, whereas Catwoman was just a bad joke. It was just poorly conceived, and Halle Berry actually won a Razzie for it. She showed up and gave actually a big speech. So good sport on her, because I don't think okay, so when she does the transition into Catwoman,
right,
and starts acting like sassy and stuff, yes, I think that was bad acting. But I think it's not on her, it's the material they gave her.
Yeah, but I try to imagine this because I messaged you. I said, what is she doing with this catnip thing? And I thought to myself, she's like an Oscar-winning actress, and she's reading this. Like, how do you not call your agent on the phone and be like, get me out of this movie. I'm not doing this. This is ridiculous. I'm not sitting here smelling catnip. Like, what are you doing? What do you do? So, and I'm a big fan of Batman Returns. I'm a big fan of Michelle Pfeiffer's version of Catwoman. No, it is not the same. Her transition to becoming Catwoman. These are not Egyptian cat gods that have resurrected her like they did in this movie. You've had. I'm not going to count the most recent one. What's her face from The Dark Knight Rises?
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway. But you've had, because she's after this one, right? But you had Eartha Kitt. You had Julie Newmar. You had Michelle Pfeiffer. Like, how do you not, like, how do you screw up Catwoman? Is really what my point is. I mean, it's a long way to get to it.
I feel like what they did is, I feel like what they did is they had a script for some type of rom-com, like weird thing, and then they just kind of like tried to slide it in, because it's actually like I don't know if any of the like our female viewers are with us, but I want to know how like the female audience felt seeing this. So I like similar to, we talked about Spawn, I felt like it was kind of what you call it, like a disservice to Michael J. White and any kind of people who came to see a leading black man in a movie. So this is Halle Berry, a leading black woman in a female lead movie, and her role is to play the timid kind of like unnoticed female character that turns around and gets sassy and is stopping this plot that basically makes your skin disintegrate or something. Like, yeah,
it was a beauty cream. It was a beauty cream thing, and
like,
it was
so they give her like a female like it. I feel like
you look so pained trying to even like recall this.
It's hard to make sense. It's kind of like, why? And there's a lot of talent in this movie. So actually, I was gonna
Sharon
say
Stone.
I was gonna say, yeah, Fant4 should get pushed through this round. But now that I think of it, I'm like, yeah, Sharon Stone, Benjamin Bratt, like all these people, like some, even I forgot who her sidekick was, but they're all people that.
Because she was in she's the voice in Family Guy. Oh god,
she's around, but there's a lot of talent in there, and none of them went and like we're like, hey,
Alex Borstein.
Hold on a second, this is terrible. Yeah, but during when Halle Berry goes up and accepts her Razzie, holding her Oscar in her other hand,
right?
She says stuff like she actually like she just basically lays it all out what the experience was. She's like, why didn't anyone tell me that I was doing this bad? And then she says, I want to thank all the writers, all 20 of them. And like, you just like this movie, like at the time they were making it,
it's a pant load.
I feel like they must have been somewhat aware that what they were making was, I don't know.
Well, you know what? We talk about this in Spawn, and so I'm not going to get into, but this one thread we talk about the Spawn, and I'm going to bring it up in this movie, was its reliance on special effects was also one of its downfalls, right? There's a lot wrong with this movie. We've already gone over it, but the reliance on the special effects, the fake cats, the the fight scenes with it was just very rubbery looking, like just too much. You don't need that, right?
Yeah.
Scott put up an interesting, Catwoman is not an empowering role. It's no Black Panther. Well, I actually kind of disagree in that. I think Catwoman is actually in the comic books. It's a very empowering role, a character.
But that movie,
right?
they didn't.
This movie is shit.
Yeah.
No. She's very meek and shallow, and yet it's so funny. She when she transitions into, I guess, resurrected, she transitions into this, like, you know, very similar to what Michelle Pfeiffer did in Batman Returns. You know, she cuts her hair. But and then you see her coming out and she steals that motorcycle from those guys who are partying next door across the alley. And her hair is like perfectly done, like as if she just spent like 9 hours in a salon. And she also had it dyed. I'm like, you were just upstairs cutting it. What are you talking about? Anyways, you know what,
John?
That's
movie magic. No, yeah. So Scott clarifies, he does 100% mean the movie. Yes.
Right.
So Catwoman as a character, we feel is empowering, but the movie, yeah, it definitely was not like I'd have to hear what like the female fans thought of it, but I can't imagine that that's what you would have wanted to see your superhero character be and they're like swooning over Benjamin Bratt and stuff. I'm like you couldn't have made her a little more confident and stuff like that. And I heard, like, I don't know if you would want to see a director's cut of this movie. A lot of it was chopped up and moved around. That's why, like, I don't know if you noticed, but they transitioned to another day, and you're like, why is everyone wearing the same clothes? Yeah. And it's because they filmed that beforehand, and it was all supposed to be part of the same day, and then they like added all this stuff. So the movie is just generally a disaster. But I feel like it's not really in the comic realm. And
okay, so now if we're talking about what's going through, listen. Fantastic Four.
And before Rob finishes, anyone who wants to say anything, get in the comments.
Say it now.
Yeah, because we're going to wrap this up.
Fantastic Four is bad. Yeah, Fantastic Four is bad, but it is watchable. It's watchable at least once. I judged, you know, you and I have talked about, I used to work in a movie store, and I would close the store at midnight, and I would always take movies home and I would watch it overnight, right? Because I would sleep in. And I always judged whether a movie was really good if it hooked me enough that I wouldn't go to sleep at like 3 o'clock in the morning, that I would stay up that extra half hour to finish it. That's always how I judged whether that movie was worth it or not. In this case, in this day and age, how many times am I picking up my phone or my tablet during the course of a movie, right? Just to do something else. And in Catwoman, it was a struggle for me to keep my phone down as for that. I've watched Fantastic Four twice. It's on Disney Plus. It's definitely worth a watch. The special effects aren't that bad. You can see what they were trying to do. Catwoman has to be pushed through because it is such a steaming pile of turd over Fantastic Four. Not to say Fantastic Four deserves any real merit whatsoever, but it's definitely not worse than Catwoman.
I have to agree with you. I actually came in thinking that I was gonna push Fantastic Four in and eliminate Catwoman on the fact that they just paid for a name. But the more I think about it, and the more I see how they used what they had, like, oh man, like, no, I think it definitely has to at least be in our semifinals. If not, I think it probably could possibly make the top 3. But it does, if it does make it to the semifinals, I'm pretty sure it's going to be going up against Superman Quest for Peace. So I haven't gone to rewatching that yet, but
now wait, did I message you about this? And I'm fairly certain, was it not Peter Cullen that was it for Catwoman who did the voice for the trailer? Was it Peter Cullen?
No, that was Spawn. There was a Spawn.
Oh, it was Spawn. Okay.
Peter Cullen, Optimus Prime himself doing the
all right.
the voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then forget it. Catwoman is this a giant piece of shit?
yeah. So let's jump in the comments before we just ice this, because I think everyone's actually in agreement. Scott says Catwoman Snyder cut. Yes, definitely. Rob will watch it.
Could you imagine? But you know what? We wouldn't get HBO Max. Sorry, Scott. We wouldn't have it.
Fraser says he's watched both once and he won't ever do it again. So I don't know if.
But Fraser, you have to commit to one between these two, which is the worst.
So Michelle says Catwoman was not empowering at all. The character is like, I feel like it was just insulting. Like you probably had a female audience that wanted to see Catwoman, saw Michelle Pfeiffer in Returns and thought, hey, we're going to get a cool female superhero. And they release something like this, and I feel like that must have been hugely disappointing. Especially the main thing she's fighting is like a skin cream that turns you into a
well, she was
monster,
she made Sharon like Sharon Stone, man. Like it made her skin like invulnerable until she fell out of a window.
yeah. Scott says Catwoman for the win, 100% here.
Yeah.
Jonathan Yo says Fan4 for the most part you could watch it without cringing. Yeah, other than that, you can watch it and go, this is so dumb. And then I definitely did cringe at the, hey, what are we going to call ourselves? You know, it was pretty fantastic. He's like, say that again.
Yeah, I'm like, I know. You know what they were trying to do? I think they were trying to go for, was it the end of Civil War or the end of Age of Ultron when Captain America has got the vision of Scarlet Witch and Iron Patriot or whatever, and he's our War Machine. And he's like, and he goes Avengers, and he goes, and he almost says assemble, and they cut it. And that's what I think that this movie was trying to do. They were trying to do that exact same thing where he goes fantastic, and they cut it. They were trying to do the exact same thing, but they failed. Or it was stupid.
So Fraser says, yeah, he'll go with Catwoman, but it is hard what they did to Doom. Yeah, and that's 100% the reason why I was going to push Fantastic Four through, because of what they did to Doctor Doom. But I don't know if I can let Catwoman skate past and be, because at the end of this, I think we will have a top 3. So I feel like if anything is going to go in the top 3, maybe Catwoman should be 3rd or something like that.
Yeah.
So let's do this. All right. So Catwoman versus Fant4stic for Fant4stic. We're going to give it to Catwoman for now. I don't know if we're going to regret this later. So Catwoman is going to advance. Wow. So now we have left. So this is the semifinals, this bracket over here. Yeah. Like I said, I do video game sports. Haha. So Green Lantern and Batman and Robin, and New Mutants and Superman Quest for Peace. So I feel like we should tackle this bracket here so we can have at least one semifinal decided. So I don't know if you're up for watching Green Lantern and Batman and Robin again. Yeah. I watched a clip of Batman and Robin. And it's the fight scene with them and Mr. Freeze, and the ice skates out of their boots. Yeah, when they click their boots together and then I don't know, but the nostalgia is pretty fun in that scene.
You're an idiot.
There's Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's trying to get his freeze gun, and he takes a guy and throws him up in the air to knock his freeze gun off the top of a statue. Yeah, and then he says, what killed the dinosaurs? And then he freezes this giant dinosaur and he goes, the Ice Age, and it like falls down. Like, I don't know if it's gonna come out on top of this fight. So I don't know. I feel like Green Lantern is way harder to watch on the second view. You really think Batman and Robin, maybe your expectations for Batman and Robin, but I remember when I was a kid,
I've seen these a lot. Yeah, I've seen both of these multiple times.
Really?
Yes. Yes, sadly, yes. I've seen Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds at least 5 times. I saw it in the theaters, and I actually thought it wasn't that
bad. I saw it after all the initial theater releases. Everyone trashed the movie, and then I watched it. I don't know if I watched the regular version or some type of there's an extended cut of some kind. I don't know if I saw the extended cut, because I remember seeing there's a scene in there that's in there twice. So I don't know if you recall the scene, if it's supposed to be in there twice. When Hal's father dies, I feel like they show it twice in the movie. Do. Almost back to back. Well, what is going on here?
Yeah, it's yeah. So I'm fairly certain I know, but yeah, I'm good. I'm going to rewatch these this week because what the hell? Why not?
What the hell? I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised by Batman and Robin.
No, I don't think I will.
That clip I watched, I actually was having a pretty good time. I was like, oh, okay, so let's jump in the comments because we're going to sign off soon. Yeah. So let's see here. Let's see. I don't know if you see anything here. So
yeah, well, I saw that Michelle saying Batman and Robin has always been awful. GL is almost tolerable, but barely. Yeah. Yes.
She could be right.
Yeah. Lewis says he doesn't think he's seen GL 5 times. I actually think he probably has, and he just doesn't want to admit it. Like
he's denying. He's denying it.
He's a denier. Yeah.
He said he didn't hate it, but it wasn't Batman and Robin terrible. So far, it's looking like Batman and Robin might end up coming on top. Batman and Robin has been awful, Michelle says.
But see, Scott is counter. Scott saying Batman and Robin is sort of playing to the humor. Green Lantern is just bad by trying too hard.
I think Batman and Robin plays into what they have set up previously. So it's not Batman 89. Batman 89 is kind of in its own thing. Batman Returns kind of follows that formula. And then whatever comes after that, I don't know what is considered the third one. Is Batman it Batman Forever? Batman Forever.
And then Batman and Robin.
Then Batman and Robin. Was there anything
that
after
was it? Well, no, then it was 11 years until they did Batman Begins.
So there's only 4 of those movies? I feel like there's a third one. Who's Val Kilmer? Val Kilmer's the third one?
Yeah, he's Batman Forever.
Batman Forever, and then we have George Clooney. So Val Kilmer and George Clooney only play Batman once each.
Yeah, but I would take Batman Forever over Batman and Robin any day of the week. Batman Forever is not great in comparison to Batman Returns and Batman, but I understood why they made it in response to the parents who were really pissed off with how dark they felt Batman and Robin was. I mean, when the Penguin comes up and he's got that blood goo coming out of his mouth, they're really pissed off.
That was weird.
They were mad about it, and they were like, McDonald's is like, we have all these extra toys. People aren't buying Happy Meals because people are mad about this movie. So they said, Tim Burton, you're out. We're gonna get the guy who made the Lost Boys. You're gonna make it look with neons. And so Batman Forever isn't as bad as Batman Robin. Batman Robin is a travesty. It's a piece of shit. It should never have been made. It's horrible.
I think you're bitter. No Jonathan points out that the director was inspired by Batman 66.
You could tell because
I got a huge feeling of that when I was watching that clip.
Yeah. Anyways, whatever. Joel Schumacher screwed it. He put, we can go into the bat nipples. I mean, you can do everything. The bat card, you never leave home without it. Come on, man.
Okay. So I guess we're gonna go into Batman and Robin and Green Lantern. And then I don't know if we're gonna be able to finish this bracket before the new year, but we're certainly gonna try. I don't know if we want to do a roundup of our favorite and worst movies of the year. Rob, if you've got a list going, I don't know if you want to include
what movies of this year. Everything.
That's what I'm saying. I saw Bad Boys for Life.
Yeah,
and the
Bloodsport,
one Harley Quinn,
or Bloodshot, rather.
Yeah, and Bloodshot was a theatrical release. Onward. I did see Trolls World Tour on the home video, which I quite liked. But yeah, I don't know if we want to do that, but definitely we're going to touch on Green Lantern, Batman, and Robin, folks. I want to say watch it with us and enjoy the torture, but you can definitely just tune in and watch. Should
we also, though, for the purpose of time, maybe try to also squeeze in Superman New Mutants for next week?
We can try. We'll definitely try. Yeah, so we can ice out and get a final before the new year. I think that'd be
so we
fun
can ice out.
Ice out. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised.
I think that you're pleasantly stupid. That's not.
I think I'm too much of an Arnold fan to really let that go. But right before we sign off, Rob, who is your favorite version of Catwoman? Then is it you think it's going to be the new version of her? The what's her name, Zoe Kravitz or whatever?
Zoe Kravitz? Oh, maybe. I really liked Eartha Kitt's Catwoman from the 66 Batman. I was a fan of the Julie Newmar one, but I really liked Eartha Kitt's Catwoman. The way her seduction and how she played off of Adam West Batman was amazing.
I don't know if we're gonna do it. We might have to do some of it on memory. I know Batman and Robin I'm gonna have to give a rewatch because I don't know if it's nostalgia, and I think New Mutants it at least deserves a watch.
Yeah, because new. I haven't seen it.
I think it's gonna lose spectacularly to Superman Quest for Peace, Ice Out Scott. But thanks for joining us, folks. You can follow Rob Gaudette, ROBGAUDETTE.
Yeah, that's right.
On Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram at jho.heroesworld. And you can follow the shop at Heroes World Online on various social medias. And if you're looking for the podcast, look up Heroes World Podcast. Definitely give us subscriptions, likes, reviews, and join us every Monday if you can. Fraser, before we jump out, says Michelle Pfeiffer. I think Michelle Pfeiffer for me too as well. Although I did really like Anne Hathaway, but that movie didn't kind of stand the test of time.
No, not at all.
No.
No. But at any rate, okay, so maybe we'll just tackle Batman, Robin, and GL. That's fine. Because maybe Lewis is right. That's 4 movies in a week. That's
I think Jonathan mentioned that. Yeah, I think that's too much.
Jonathan, sorry.
And shout-outs, sorry, we forgot to mention that Joey is still on assignment in Bloodhaven this time.
That's right. Checking out the Flying Graysons.
Yeah, checking out Flying. It's a good show, except for that one where they die. All the other ones, great. It's so shout out to her. You can follow her at the Captain Canary. We hope to have her back maybe in the new year or in some other projects maybe. Thanks for joining us, folks.
Thanks, guys.
Peace out. Thank you, Rob. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, man.
And then we'll play the outro.
Green Lantern.